Morning on day 5. It's 8:38. Right, lie down, Rebel, please. Rebel, lie down. Thank you all. You can play with the midges. Right, where to start off? Last night, got in tent early just to relax and chill. Lied on my nice Aero 120 that one of these had punctured and I'd repaired, and I thought, yeah, I'll be alright. Sorry, you're probably getting the socks drying off. And no, it was flat within half an hour. So, cursing, I thought I'm going to need some whiskey for this job. So I got my whiskey flask, got my patch kit, stripped off the old patch. Oh, these lot of sleeping. Did a really good job. Put some glue, put a patch, put some Gorilla tape over the top. Waited, had a bit more whiskey. Expected it to dry. Seemed fine. Didn't inflate it for a while. Then I inflated it, and it felt good. So, problem over, yeah? No. It was flat again with it. It's got slow punches somewhere. I can't find it. It says dip it in the river. This river's about drained. I'd have to wade about 3 foot to get some deep water. I can't find the puncher, so I was sleeping on it just half a Z light last night. Luckily that was covering the top off of my body, so that was good. But believe it or not, I had a good night's sleep. I think what added to the good night's sleep is the temperatures plummeted. Really did drop. I got the feeling last night. That's why I settled down early. It felt a bit chillier, a bit less wind. I don't know. That summer feeling, it disappeared by 7 o'clock. And when I got up about 4 o'clock, I think it was very, very chilly. There was dew all over the grass. There was dew all over the tent. I got back in the tent, not a single midge was around, so that's how cold it was. And there was no breeze, so they didn't want to come out. Got in the tent, and I wear a base layer with a hood, and I pulled the hood over and zipped out a winter bag. And I was nice and cozy. Thank God I brought that. It says it goes down to -15. I don't believe that. Probably more than -3, -4. It's a nice red one though. And I had a really good night, good morning sleep. The second half, dreaming, no, all kinds of nonsense. Whiskey might have helped. Woke up about 7:30, and the sun was hitting the back of the tent. It was cooking the tent, but we could hear the sound of light rain on the tent, and it wasn't light rain. It was Mr. Midge waiting for us to get up. There was millions of them on the tent and on the inside, but we got up, braved it just as the wind started to pick up in spurts. It kept starting, stopping, but now it looks like it's here constantly, thank God. Fed the monsters. I'm now having my coffee with protein bar. So, question is, which monster burst my airbed? I don't know. Was it Monster Wonky Ear, that's licking Monster Wonky Brain, or was it Monster Wonky Legs? Which one looks guilty to you? For some reason it looks like Monster Wonky Brain. Again. Oh, there's a slight update. Oh, I hope that's not a tick on their belly there. No. I'll check that. That's another thing. There I was before my headbed deflated. And Stella's got a head facing downwards and the backside more or less in my face, as you would when you were crushed in a tent with 3 dogs. And I was looking at Stella's backside because you couldn't avoid it. And I was hoping she didn't break wind, of course, but I could see this big tick on her bottom. So I had to go and get the pliers, the tweezers. It's a tick removal kit, sorry, from Amazon, and remove this tick. It was the size of a pea. It was a right so-and-so. So I'm gonna have to check her now. There's something lumpy in there. It could be a nipple. Rebel. So I have to have a look. I'm curious. Normally the ticks bite the dogs and then drop off, but for some reason that might have been a fresh one from yesterday. That latched onto Stella because they've got frontline tick and flea repellent, and that's only been done a couple of weeks ago. It normally stays in the system for a good month at least. So the worst is I get home, they lie on the beds, and I find the odd tick dead on the bed. But I hoover the house and shake it and clean them and check them and everything. In the early days I used to find 4 or 5. It counts how good the year is, you know what I mean, on one of the dogs. It was normally Stella that used to carry them. But yeah. So what I'm going to have to do in the future is get another Z light to go on to the Z light I got now, interlock them so I got a kind of cushion. That'll work. I don't think air mattresses are going to work inside a tent with 3 dogs. I thought that was robust. It was, but they didn't puncture it. It's actually got a tear in it. They must have kind of dashed out the tent and given it a good clipping with the nails. Probably monster wonky brain. Rebel. She's clean. Oh God. Little lovebirds, eh? Look at her, she's lapping it up. Tell him in a minute, he missed the spot. So I still ain't decided what I'm doing, if I'm moving on. Depends how Stella is, or if we're going to try that Monroe. I know I keep pondering on it, but I'm trying to think somewhere else we can search, because there is nowhere else to search. Not unless we start going beyond the extremes. So I'm going to finish my coffee, have my protein bar, and ponder on that and get changed in a minute. Catch you later. (9:44), a bit late this morning. All kitted up. Got personal locator beacon in the bag. Cap, e-collar, binoculars, lead, just in case we do come across some hikers going up the Monroe. I've got trail mix, a water filter and a bag so I can get some fresher water if we're higher up and carry it back. That's about it. And dogs. And in the far distance you see a group. That's the group that should have come down last night. They came down about 10 minutes ago. Come on you two, we've got to push off. So the only reason I've changed mind and I'm still going up is because Stella's looking good. I was worried about Stella last night, but she's had a good rest and she seems much better. So grab it while I can. So I'm doing this half for the search and half for my enjoyment. So even if it's a fruitless task, the sense of searching, I can cross it off and say we've done it. But also I can have some enjoyment because it's a beautiful day with a good wind and we've got 2 stragglers. You should never split your group unless they're separates. Anyway, right, we'll push up and set off before these 2 drive me around the twist. Look at them. Right, off we go. You do not need trekking poles. You know what I mean? You could easily take a evening amble up here. It would take you, even if you were just doing it to the start of the trail, just to have a look around there, take you about 45-50 minutes. Nice amble. It's not hard work. Look, trekking poles are in the hand. I'm walking with a camera. Yeah, I don't really even have to look where I'm going, so it's the odd boggy bit. So you see what I'm saying? There's method to my madness. People say, "Ah, he wouldn't go up here," but you never know. You see something, you stray up, and you see something else, you stray a bit further, in the end you stray too far. I'm not saying he's gone all the way up this to this Munro, but what we'll do is we'll cover a reasonable distance to say this is as far as I think he would have gone within sensibility, you know what I mean? Anything beyond that is craziness. But look, I'm walking, tracking poles are now. I'm 64. Oh, Rose got runs, she's been eating too much grass. Probably excitement as well. Bless her. But look, see, track still. And I'll show you where the track stopped as such, because I'm sure you don't want to see 15 minutes of track. You could have come out here just to have a look at the views, you know what I mean? People say, no, he won't, but you can't prove he won't. So you've got to cover it. Then you can say he won't. But if you make the assumption that he left in the morning, then in between bad weather, then of course he won't. I mean, it'd be stupid to stretch yourself. But if he had a rest after pitching the tent, popped his head out, saw that hiker, looked at the weather, thought, I wouldn't mind a stroll later, had his evening meal, sat down, drank some of his tea, said, oh, it's getting a bit late, it's, you know, if I'm going to go for a walk, I might as well go now, left the rest of his tea, and started off hiking. And maybe this way, maybe not. But we've covered so many places, nearly everywhere. So, this is the only one I haven't covered. Then, when he came back down, he could have took a tumble, could have got confused, could have ended up strolling off somewhere. Who knows? Could have overshot the time. Everyone does that. I don't think any hiker's never done that. Oh, they're in the water. Right, I'll show you a bit further on. Right, it took me 29 minutes from my camp. I've been stopping to get a breather. I've been stopping to let the dogs jump in the water and do whatever they need to do. I've been filming. I've been chatting to you. I've just been enjoying the pace, you know what I mean? Not going pushing or anything. Now that's 29 minutes from my camp. Add another 11 minutes because it's 5 minutes from where he was pitched to the start of the Stalker's track, and another 6 minutes from the top of the Stalker's track to my camp. So I had 11 minutes, right? So that's 40 minutes to get to here. And do I need trekking poles? No. Now I might need trekking poles because I think the track whittles a bit, you know what I mean? Now if he took a hike before, on that first night, after having a rest in his tent, so he's pitched his tent, he's popped his head out, seen someone at 2 o'clock, he's laid down, maybe had something to eat, laid down, had a rest, woke up for 5, say, so he's had 2 or 3 hours sleep, had his evening meal, rested again, started his tea, started drinking his tea and gone, oh, it's getting on now, say 6:30, yeah? It doesn't get dark up here to 10 o'clock at night at this time of year. And we're talking, all right, say 9:30. It's cut half an hour off. Let's say it took him an extra 10 minutes to get up here. So 50 minutes. Let's give him an hour. It took him an hour to get here, right? That's giving him an extra 20 minutes. I don't think he needed that, but let's say he did. He doesn't take photos, he doesn't have a camera. So he's not going to be stopping along trail steps to have a breather and just enjoy the views. So let's say I'm giving an extra 20 minutes to get it here. Now this is my point. When you get to here, that's where you should turn around and say, wow, beautiful view. What lovely. Rest. Sit down by the river, listen to the river, whatever. But sometimes people get drawn by something. They see something and go, oh, what's that? Oh, a chat, like the ruins it could be. You know what I mean? It could be, oh, let's have a look up there, when he shouldn't. And that's when he does need trekking poles, and that's when he's pushing on. So that's why I'm doing this. It doesn't make sense for him to be out this far, but in some sense he could do it, you know, within reason. Now if he was doing it on the Monday in between, Monday morning in between weather, yes, he could do this in an hour, but he's already had heavy rain. Would he push himself up here when it's getting muddy and the rivers are getting higher? Don't think so. So that's why my theory is he probably set off the evening before, after having a rest in the tent. I believe the story is that he asked to join his friends because his friends wanted to go to Glen Etive. Normally they'd take him, but this time they were planning to go to Glen Etive. I heard that he asked to join. They didn't ask him, he asked to join. So I think he felt like a gooseberry. Now I think they pushed on Glen Etive because he thought, I like where we were pitched before. I've seen some nice views and nice walking areas, you know, just to take a short stroll. So he said to them, look, I'm going to turn back, I'm not feeling it, whatever excuse he used. You carry on. And then he came back here and he had plans because he was going to be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they were going to come back and pick him up on Thursday. Now you think, what was he going to do for 3 days? He wasn't going to sit by the lock and just amble up and down that track. He had in his head something to do. He had plans. So his plans probably did include strolling around. But as I say, why would you need trekking poles if you see a stalker's track? Now this bloke he's been up Munros, he's done hill walking, you know, he has got some experience. He knows a stalker's pack, you don't really need trekking poles, you're just bringing them along because you're being lazy. I do it just to make my life easier, you know what I mean? But there's no need for them. I can reach to the dogs, I can point to the dogs, I can, you know, if I now when I want to go across rivers and start stretching, that's when I need the trekking poles. So that's what I'm saying. For people to say he hasn't gone up here, please explain why, because it's took me 40 minutes. It would have took him 40 minutes. I'm giving him an extra 20 minutes. So I'm saying an hour to get here. So if he sets off here, say 6:30, 7 o'clock, say he sets off 7. He's here by 8 o'clock. He can still be kept back to camp before it gets dark, even if I make sunset at 9:30. And to be honest, you can be out here at 11 o'clock at night and there's still semi-darkness, so you don't need a torch. The only reason you bring a torch is if the weather changes, and also to make your life easier if there's any holes. So, and look, there's the lock down there. It looks miles away, but it's not miles away. In fact, it's 1.19. It's 1.19 miles from my camp. And it's about another, just under a mile. So it's about 2 miles to get to here. This is my point. That's why I went up there the other day, just in case he ambled up. I didn't think he'd pushed all the way to the top. I just wanted to enjoy myself. I was enjoying the hike and I wanted to just stretch my legs and just enjoy the views, because I mean, how many times do people go around there? The other thing is, he could have gone up there, but he's not going to go right up to the top. He's not stupid. He's going to probably go onto that ledge, and that's where we'll go. We'll go up the ledge and explore up there. I've checked all these ruins out, so I know they've been checked. I've checked on the other side. I followed all this river all the way up, and we've done all the lock-ins over there. I might have a little amber about just around that patch over the top there and that section there, just in case he strayed the wrong way. But please, you know, all these people are going to say he didn't come up here. If you're hikers, you'll know an hour's hike on easy track is nothing. And that's, I'm giving him an hour. It probably took him about 45 minutes at the most, you know, to get here. If he was doing it in between bad weather, of course not. It'd be a bit stupid to come up here if he knew the weather was on the change. Now the reason I say they didn't presume the weather was going to change or feel like the weather was going to change, because the other two pushed on to Glen Etive and Almaty Bay, that area. It was only when the weather changed that they turned round and called it a day. So they didn't expect the forecast either, otherwise they would have known they're walking into heavy weather. And we still don't know. They got the weather, they could have got the weather first. You know what it's like in the mountains, you can have rain over there, cloud over here, they're getting soaked. It takes time sometimes to hit us over here. You can see the fronts sometimes coming in, you know someone's getting hammered, but it hasn't reached you. So, you know, experience tells you. What I'll do on the way back, I will hike back without using my trekking poles, right? And I'll purposely, and you've got to take my word for it, I will guarantee I will not use my trekking poles. And I'll tell you how hard it is without trekking poles. And I know it's not going to be hard. And that's to my camp. Once it gets past my camp, it's even easier. So please, don't rule out this area. Very foolish to rule it out. I'm not saying he's pushed all the way into the valleys. I'm not saying he's pushed up to the Munros. I'm saying he could have ambled there, straight off down there. Could have ambled up there and then straight off there. Maybe the light was going when he was coming back down because he had overstretched. Then he would get confused. The semi-darkness can confuse anyone. Right, enough rambling. But I just want to get this point clarified because people will say, he ain't got up there. And, you know, if I've ambled up here in, what, 40 minutes, 39? You know what I mean? And I've been taking breaks and talking on the camera and all that. So, you know, come on. And look at that track. Do you need trekking poles to walk on there? No, of course not. This is, when he was sitting in his campsite, he was looking straight at this. This would have been drawing him. Trust me, if you're an outdoor person, the views, the scenery, and you always think, I wonder what's up there, I wonder what's there, that looks beautiful. That always draws you. Right, Stella's had a rest. This is what I'm saying, do it nice and slow, nice and paced. Not a race. And she can have a paddle. Right, on we go. We're going up there. Oh, now I'm going to come off track. Now I'm going to need poles. Unless there should be a defined track because Munro is dirt. We'll have a look. Again, I'm pushing up, but look. Stalker's trap. Look. Don't need hiking poles. I'm only just taking them to make my life easier. Because I will need them when we go up there. I'm going to go into that ledge. Excuse me. I just stopped to have something to eat. A new drink. Just taking it nice. Now, you can follow this stalker's path all the way up there. But we're going to peel off towards that valley. In the Munro they do, but we're not doing the Munro. I just brought the helmet just in case I see something that stands right out and I have to go investigate and it might be a bit dodgy. So if I do fall, I might break an arm or leg, but I won't kill myself by cracking my skull open. Right, see you up there. Dogs are looking for water. I'm taking high points so I can scan. So it's even under an hour. So I mean, look, perfectly doable. So I don't know why. I think the rescue teams ruled it out because by the time they got here, this was all flooded and they couldn't get across. And they thought, because it was so high, they thought he hasn't got across. But if he beat the rain and went out that first evening, then that would have been not as low as that, but it's still passable. You still can walk across that. It's not even ankle deep when it's dry. It's just like one of these ones that kind of flash floods and then dies down quite quick as the water moves into the lot. I think it's because it comes down from that river and then comes through that river there and they converge, and that's why it goes up quite quick. But anyway, lunchtime for me. Enjoyed that. Glad I did do it in the end. Much more fun. Right, lunch.